and then it squashes down flat. So when you get it in there and you start tightening, it's going to feel spongy. So you want to get past that spongy feeling. And then tighten a little bit more. But you don't want to over tighten these and lock them in the cylinder or break the spark plug. So just tighten it and then give it a little leverage. You want it to be tight but not break it. And without a torque wrench, there's no other way to tell you how to do it. And then using a torque wrench would be another video. So anyway, now you've got the spark plugs in, and then you can put the wires on. So you're putting new wires on, so these are the spark plug wire looms, and they have a little catch to hold this one together. Just push on that, and then this top will come open like that. And you get that out of the way, and then you can take this out of the loom, and you want to go from the ignition coil side and just pull the old one out, and there you go. And these spark plug wires are different sizes, so you want to have your new spark plug wires out of the box and lay them like up here like this, and then when you take the old one out, match it up with the same size for the cylinder that you're taking out, and only do one cylinder at a time so you don't get confused and put your plugs in the wrong place, your plug wires in the wrong place. So the new one, this is the new one now. That's going to go up through that pipe like that. You put it on the ignition coil, your new ignition coil that you already put on. Put it through the looms, and then you put the wire back on, the spark plug. And when you put these in, when you push them on, you should hear a little pop. You probably won't hear it on the video, but you want to make sure that's in all the way. As soon as that truck goes by. Okay, so we'll pop it in. And I'm sure you couldn't hear that, but it makes a little squishy sound. Then you do the same thing with the other wire. Get the new one on, put it in, and push it on. And when they're on all the way, that rubber should be up against the valve cover gasket, or the valve cover. So you want to make sure they're on right, and then close your loom with your pocket knife, and you're done with this side. Okay, next is the other side. Oh, yeah, we have to put this side together first. So first we get the box back in, the air box. So you just lay it down in there. The bottom side of this has a little thing that sticks up. That just rests against the fender. Doesn't do anything special. This goes in a hole right there. And then get your 12mm bolt down on the bottom. It's just that easy. And this piece goes on next, and that has the thing that goes on the stud right there, and then this part goes down in the air box, and this part goes on to here. Snap that in, put that down in the air box, put that in, and then your 10mm nut goes on top of there. Okay, and this goes on. Just snaps on. And that goes on. You can see that we have electrical tape on there because that's how we repair things around here. That goes on there. And then you'll probably need to tighten that back up with 10mm socket. It doesn't need to be real tight. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't spin around in circles. Okay, now we're done on this side, and we can go over to the other side. Okay, here we are on the other side. And this side's a little bit more involved because there's a little bit more to take off. So the other side was really easy. But on this side, we need to get down to the spark plugs, which are down in here. And so we need to take the windshield washer reservoir off. Somebody already took this side off for us a long time ago. That's a 10mm bolt that's broken off, so we don't need to do that one. So that takes our time down a little bit. So these are 10mm. It's important that these be 10 miles long. So that's a 10mm bolt. Take that out. You put it up here where you won't lose it. And then your reservoir is going to lift out. You have two connectors on the sprayer. These are for your pumps, for your windshield pump and your rear window pump, so they need to come off. And sometimes you can take these out a little bit and be able to see it. You've got the positive battery cable that they put in there, so you don't want to just yank it and then bust this off, and then you bust your tank and then it leaks all the time. And this one we don't have a lot of room because it tightens up on this wire right away. So that comes out by somehow doing something. And we're going to squeeze that and see if that works. Yep. So you just squeeze that and grunt a little bit, and then that pushes that tab down when you squeeze it, and then it comes out of the pump. Okay, so we're going to do that on this one somehow. Get like that. Squeeze. And then it comes out. Okay, now there's two rubber hoses. They have to come off the pump. There's one rubber hose there on that pump. And then off of this pump, there's that rubber hose. And when you pull these off, your spray stuff's going to leak out, which isn't a big deal. It's not always the easiest thing to pull them off. Look at that leaking right out of there. Isn't that something? Then you have the other one there. It's leaking out of there too. How about that? Okay, then that lifts right out. Look at that. You can set that down on the ground like that so it doesn't keep leaking all over the place. Okay, so now, as you can see, there is plenty of room to get to your spark plug wires. Over here and right there. Okay, so again, it's a lot easier to get these loosened up before you try and twist them. So you have little loom things right here that pulls out, and then there's a tricky one that's harder to see that's down in here, but it just pops right out of there. Just pop them up out of the loom. Now this area in here is a little tight, but it's not too bad. Then you have these, pop them loose, and then here. Now again, it's important that you don't get these mixed up, and it's pretty easy because this on your ignition coil, oh, now it's leaking out of the top of that thing down there. We might want to get that in the video so we can see that. See, I laid that down so it doesn't leak, but look what happened. It's leaking out of the cap. Isn't that something? Okay.
I see windshield washer for Christmas.
Yes. Yes, and then, so up on your coil, this wire comes down and goes to the back side. So it's not a big deal if you get them messed up. It's not that hard to figure out. They just go in a straight line pretty much. And it's the same on the other side. But anyway, now you twist until it comes loose from the spark plug, and then it just pulls right out. It's just that easy. Okay, so there you go. You have that. Now, this back one, put your 5/8 inch spark plug socket on there, and then you can go, I think, right, yep, you can go right down in. That's not a big deal on this one. That's easy. So you get the plug out, put the new one in using your vacuum hose, and then you tighten it, and then put your new plug wire on. You might have heard that one snap. That snapped pretty good. Okay, now we're doing the front plug wire, which is cylinder number 2. And you can see that boot came out nice and clean. There's no oil on it. Yours is going to be covered in oil. But we put valve cover gaskets on last summer. Oh, the head gaskets were just done in this, so they were all cleaned up then too. But I think this front one, I can't remember if you can snake this down in here or not. Yeah, you can. Yep, that goes down in, so that's no problem. And you just put your socket wrench on there and turn that loose, and use the magnet to pull the spark plug out. It's just a little bit tighter in here. Sometimes it's easier once you get it loose. Pull the extension off, and then you have a short extension. But don't forget, you can drop that down in there, which I'll demonstrate. Then you can't get it out. Then what do you do? Well, then you get your magnet, and it's all going to be okay.